Hello, and welcome to the Channel Maven, a part of 360 Insights podcast. I'm Akilah Murrell, and I'm the Senior Manager of Channel Marketing. Now, today I had a great discussion with Wayne Coleman, who's the Channel Director at Netrality Data Centers. We talked about the power of building an impactful partner program. So whether you're actually creating a brand new partner program or you're revamping one that exists, Wayne Coleman shared some lessons learned that you don't want to miss out. What I really appreciated about our conversation is what he shared with us is super realistic. If you don't know where to begin, or maybe if you're overwhelmed thinking you have to have everything perfect, he shared some really key effective ways that you can still be and still build an impactful partner program. I hope that you can take a listen. So excited that you accepted this invitation to our CMC podcast series. Today, I am sitting here with Wayne Coleman. Wayne and I go back a long, long ways, and I'm so glad to reconnect with you. And he's going to just share his expertise and share his knowledge on how to build an impactful partner program that he is currently working on. So Wayne, why don't you tell us a little more about what you're doing at Netrality?
Hey, well, first and foremost, thank you, Akilah, for reaching out to me, and it's always a pleasure anytime I can interact with you. We've always had great relationships, so whatever we can work through. Yeah, Neutrality, we actually have built a really. I came on board about 2.5, 3 years ago to really kind of revamp and rebuild the channel program. I've been working in the channel for many years, probably 20 plus years. So I've had the opportunity to work through a couple of different channel programs, from very large programs to rather smaller ones as well. So have a lot of experience in working through channels, working with channel partners, as well as working on the administrative sides of programs, launching 2 successful channel programs with 2 of the organizations I worked with. So
Good. Well, we want to know more. I know you definitely are the expert in your field, but I want you to actually think back even beyond 20 years ago. I want you to think back to your very first job. Okay. Think of your first job and what impact it's had on you ever since that point in time. How have you applied what you've learned to what you're doing even today?
that's a great question. That's a really fun question. I appreciate that. My first job actually was a locker room attendant at for a recreation facility at a swimming pool. I ended up working at that pool every summer since I was 13 years old through a lot of my college career. I think the interesting thing is when you're in those jobs, you don't really realize what is happening, what impact, and what you're getting out there. But one of the key things I pulled out of was relationships. I made some great relationships. One of my close friends actually met working at the pools, and we have actually leapfrogged each other career-wise in many ways. I mean, I have helped him find a job in the telecommunications area, and then he actually helped me get over to a company we used to work for. Hired me over there. But I also realized that the critical part is that even that organization, in different roles, I sold to them in many different capacities. It was just building those relationships and keeping good communication with people, and just treating people with respect, getting through there. It was real critical. And that was one of the key things I learned. I mean, of course, we start out hard work, 85 cents an hour was my pay. So, I mean, it was fun. It's a fun job, but just building from those relationships and not burning bridges. I mean, that's something that I've learned throughout my entire career, is to not burn bridges. And, even though you don't think you may be a salesperson, I think you always are in whatever role you're in. Internally, you're trying to sell something, but from that perspective, you just want to maintain and build those relationships. So.
That's great. That's near and dear to my heart. I mean, really, when you think of the channel, how much more relationship based can we get? It's all about
Right.
relationships, right? And
Absolutely.
you're right. You have the knowledge, you got the expertise, but if you don't have that relationship piece, forget it.
Yeah.
want to do business with people they trust. And so relationships, I think, become really key. So that's actually powerful that that's what you've gotten. And I've seen it. I've witnessed that you're really big on relationships and you're so good at making people feel comfortable with doing business with you and just working with you. The other thing that you said too is we're all in sales at the end of the day. We really are.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that comment because that's something that I say all the time. I'm like, I'm not in sales on paper, but we are constantly in sales mode. We represent the company, we represent our personal brand. So I'm spot on. I appreciate what you shared with us.
It makes sense. I mean, and you're not trying to convince somebody. So the other aspect of sales, I don't think people realize, is that you're listening. You've got to be listening and understanding what somebody else's needs are and how our two needs can intertwine, or how our solutions can intertwine. And that's exactly what we're looking at with a partner program. What does our solution set look like? What does your offering look like to your customer? And how do we help those things to intertwine? And it's not going to be a fit for everybody all the time, but there are times it's going to be a great fit, and that's where you want to leverage. And that's what I'm going to build on.
Yeah, that's great. That's actually a really good segue to my first question, because I understand you are focusing on rebuilding the partner program. And oftentimes we're always thinking, okay, well, as a supplier, this is what we can do for the partner. But if we were to flip that, like, how are you, as you're identifying partners that's a good fit for you, are you also taking into consideration what they can do for you? Like, how do you go about that process?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the key thing is finding the right partners, finding partners that are really within the realm of what you're selling, or your services or your product you're offering. You want to make sure that it's a good fit for them. What you're looking for from your partners is obviously opportunities. You want at bats. You want to be able to get in there and say, hey, give me a chance, give me a shot at this. But I think one thing that people don't really think about much is that what I really look for from my partners is feedback. Give me some honest communication. Let me know what's working, what isn't working. Because when you do start that relationship with the partners, they're the ones that are talking to the customers. They're the ones that are seeing it. That whole the front line type of thing. They see what's happening, and plus they also get a great view of other suppliers out there. What works, what doesn't work. Tell me the things. Tell me the good things as well as the bad things. And if I'm messing up on something, I need to know that. I don't want to know that 6 months down the road when I don't see anything else from you. Let me know right away. Those are the things that I can help out. But it's identifying those partners. And I think that's the other key thing you want to look at is make sure you get partners that are talking to the customers that you are targeting. You can't expect somebody to go out too far out of their comfort zone or out of what their strategic path is, what their objectives are and their solution set. Don't take them. You want to stretch them, but you don't want to say, you got to build a whole different division or a whole different group to do this. So identify those folks that are working with the customer base that you need to target and figure out how to get that going through with them.
Right. Oh, that's really good. So then how do you, because you talk a lot about their customer, and I'm assuming that obviously you're keeping their customer top of mind as well, in addition to the partner. So how do you prioritize the two? How are you catering to both the partner and their customer?
I think it's a good point. It kind of depends on. I'm going to give you a couple qualified answers on this. One is that if depends on the program that you're looking at going with, right? If my program is to say, hey, find that opportunity for us, throw it over the wall, we'll take and run with it and go from there. That's one piece. Then I'm going to focus on, what those customers' needs are. I'll be the main point of contact, or my organization will be the main point of contact for them. I think what more people are looking at is really more of that partnership program where you look for partners that have that ongoing relationship with the customer. They're going to be part of that ongoing sale and all of the ongoing support with the customer. Not so much like necessarily reselling the product or services, but they've got that ongoing relationship. And there you want to make sure that you're working with the customer however the partner needs you to work with them. It's let the partner be the guide, let them be the lead, tell you what's happening out there. A lot of it too is going to take place early on. It'll be a case where the partner wants to be involved in all conversations you're going to have with the customer, because they want to make sure they understand what you're saying, how you're presenting it, what's going on there. Once you start to develop that trust level with them, they'll get the introduction to you and kind of let you take over. And for us, that's been what's been really successful is making sure that we know what we do good, and we really present that. We make sure that the partner understands what we do well, how it fits, and how it fits within their offering out to their customers as well. Part of that bigger solution set.
Right. So you really help enable the partner to position themselves accordingly for their market and for
Absolutely.
their targeting. That's important. I think too, what you said earlier on is just listening and taking the lead from the partner. Sometimes I think that's hard for suppliers to do, right? Because you go in with, you already have your plan, you have everything fully baked, and you're
Right.
wanting the partner to just take that and just go with it.
Right.
But oftentimes it's not just cookie cutter all the time. You really do have to sometimes take a back seat, listen, understand what the partner needs for their customer, and then you may have to kind of tweak things a little bit.
That's very true. I mean, it's a huge piece of it. I mean, and it depends on the complexity of your offering as well. If I've got something really complex there, and the part we look at is to say, where is it that I want this partner to thrive? If for example, I'm like really strong in government sales, in Fortune 500 sales, and I've got a direct team that is working with those folks, and we're very entrenched with them going into there. We think, hey, we're doing pretty good on this, and we want to hold that. But maybe we're not so strong in the enterprise space, or maybe we're not so strong in a mid-market, this customer segment. Then I want to look at, and I want to say, who is strong out there partner-wise? What are they selling? And it's got to be complementary products. It doesn't necessarily have to be that, oh, they're already selling this or that. In many cases, you can look at partners and you can help them grow. I'm legacy telco stuff, right? Working with many partners that have sold telco services early on, and that's all they were selling. And those partners realized early on that they needed to expand their offering to stay in front of the customer. It was a case where they're just selling network services. Well, the network goes somewhere. So from our standpoint, it goes into a data center. They need to do that piece. Well, you also look at what are the managed offerings. Who's managing your service, who's managing your firewall, where's your security coming from? They're expanding those pieces out. You have to make it clean and simple. And it's not. I mean, these partners are very smart. I'm saying clean and simple, not to imply that they don't get it. You need to make your offering clean and simple for them, because they're targeted by several of the suppliers, your competitors. They're talking with them. They may already be selling your competitors quite a bit. And what you're trying to do is say, I get it. You're selling our competitor over here, but this is where we're a really good fit. This is where we can really help your customers out. I'm not going to win every opportunity, but give me some chance at looking at those.
Right.
A lot of it too is just educating the partner. I mean, be specific on what you do well. Get that information over to them, and don't hold back, right? If you get a win on something, everybody likes a business case, and it doesn't have to be a multi-page business case and all formal in that. They're just like, look, this is what the situation was. This is what the customer came across. This is how we solved that, And if our direct team is doing something, and I can share in general the issues the customer was having and how we can help them, how we help them with that solution, and how we got them to really close the deal with us, partners love that piece. That helps them. You have to look at them as part of your sales force. They're an extension of your sales force. The great thing about the partner program is, as we all know, is that you can multiply your sales with an effective partner program tremendously. You're going to multiply your funnel, your pipeline, and multiply your sales if you do it right.
You actually said so many good things there, because as for someone who is right in the trenches right now, rebuilding a partner program, or somebody who's just creating it from scratch, there's several things you said. First of all, I heard you talk about simplicity. I've heard over and over in our industry, and we know there's data out there that partners are asking for you to create a simple way to do business with you. They
Oh my
want
gosh, yeah.
that's key. Again,
Yeah.
forget all the bells and whistles, forget all the services, all of that's great, all of the training, but is it easy to do business with you? And I think that should be top of mind as you're creating a partner program, because like you said, it's not exclusive. They are working with other suppliers, they're working with other companies. And so how can you really differentiate yourself? So I think simplicity is key. And then the other thing that you mentioned too is educating the partners,
Oh
taking the
yeah.
time really. And I think that goes a long way, don't you think?
It it's huge. It's critical for that. I mean, to hit on at one point the ease of doing business. We in the partner community or the supplier community, we all tout that. Oh, we're easy to do business with. We're easy. You really need to look at what does that partner experience look like before you say we're easy to do business with. One, partner has an opportunity, how they engage you. What does that look like?
Right.
How do you want me to reach out? Do you want me to just call you directly? Do you want me to send you an email? Whatever you want to do. That's not scalable, of course, right? You want to make sure you get things set up scale. But on the other side is that when you get to the point of assessing what the partner need or the customer needs and putting a quote together, how easy is your quoting process? Is it something quick and simple? Is it online? Can a partner go in and do that quickly? If it's not quick and simple, then get the resource for them. Make it as easy as possible for them. We're not a large organization. But we don't expect the partners to know the processes in and out. So what we will do is we'll pair up with one of our direct team members, and they will actually take over and they'll take the lead on working with the partner in getting the information for the quote. If we need to pull our solutions architect in, we can do that as well. And then that whole order process, our internal team takes care of that.
Mhm.
And it is, you really have to take an honest look at yourself and say, what does my process look like? If it is really easy to do, and I can do it online, and I can, put um, uh, some apps together that are really quick and simple for the partner to use, that's perfect. That'll be great. But if it's not, be honest with yourself and say, okay, we're going to get it in there. Because particularly if you're competing with another supplier that's selling similar services, the partner has a relationship with them, it's a case where they've built a habit of working with those folks. They know what's going on. They know what to expect. Well, to win them over, you've got to be really good and you got to be timely. You got to be honest with them. I mean, we all say keep communication open, good news and bad news. You got to let them know right away. If there's something going on, let them know right away. And that, those are some critical aspects. Communication. And as I mentioned earlier, like feedback from the partner is huge, but feedback from us to the partners is big too. It's a two-way street.
Right. I think it's just feedback, period.
Oh
Oftentimes,
yeah.
we think we're doing, early on in my marketing career, I'll put myself out there, the campaigns and the programs that I would create, and I thought they were just the best. I'm like, this is perfect. And I'll just hand it over to sales and expect them to execute on the program. And I never, ever even considered putting myself in their shoes. I didn't reach out to them. I didn't ask what they thought prior to the launch. And I think it's the same thing with partners. Like, let's get feedback from them. We think our
Yeah.
process is simple, but do they feel that way? And I know we can't boil the ocean. We're not going to solve everything, but
Right.
we can't be afraid to reach out to them and get their feedback before we fully bake these processes. And I think right now is a great opportunity. If you are building a partner program or people who are considering it, do that up front. You'll
Yep.
save a lot of time and money just asking first.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
and
You
include
know,
your partners in that.
you're spot on. I mean, a lot of times folks that are, somebody that's building a program, they have people in their organization in the program that clearly have some experience in channel, or they probably wouldn't be in that role. They have partners that they can go out and reach out to. And if not, there are organizations like yourself, like 360 Insight, they can reach out to and get some feedback and get some guidance on there. I mean, the thing you find is that there's so many aspects of it. You have to look at the internal process, but then also what is our messaging communication out to our partners? What do we have? You can't stress enough, what does that partner experience look like? How does that happen? I never want to make sure, I never want to embarrass my partner in front of the customer. I never want to do that. I want to make sure, one, taking care of your partner is critical, taking care of their customer is critical, and then making sure that things go smooth. And if they don't go smooth, which we know, not everything does, we let people know right away. And then getting the partner paid timely and accurately. That's a critical aspect of it. We're asking those partners to trust us, and their reputation is on the line with that particular customer. They may have had relationships with these customers for 5, 10, 15, even 20 years. And we're really just asking, leverage your relationship with the customer to get us an in to help us out with that.
Right.
And if we lose sight of that, and try to do things around the partner, that's not going to work good at all.
Right. Protect your relationship at all costs. And it's from you to the partner, and it's from the partner to the customer, which kind of brings us full circle of what you felt like you learned early on when you were just beginning, was the power of solid relationships, because it will get through those times. Nothing is perfect. No one is perfect. Processes fail. But if you have a really good, solid relationship and you're transparent with your partners, oftentimes that's going to get you through, right? The bumps.
Oh yeah, it does. It'll help out, and it can help you avoid going over the cliff on some things too. I mean, you're sliding around or whatever the case may be, but if they can give you some feedback and like, hey, you know what, we are really going down the wrong path here, that will help out. And then the other aspect of it too is that, I mean, what is really hard for some of us, particularly in channel, and when we're trying to get a program up and running, and I didn't want to imply, I mean, we're past the rebuild stage. We're actually a full functioning channel, obviously, but early on, it's a case where if this opportunity is not going anywhere, then let's cut it quick. Let's not waste any more time and resources. And that's kind of like sales 101 too, right? It's like, hey, if let's not put resources towards something that's not going to work. But it's even more critical within the partner community, because if I'm wasting my partner's time and wasting the customer's time, knowing that we really don't have a shot at this, it doesn't do any good for anybody.
Not at all. And that word spreads quickly in the channel.
Yes.
There's one thing before we go that just really has resonated with me. And you had mentioned, if you do one or two things really well, focus on that, right? As opposed to trying to promise the world to partners and make all these claims that you do everything well. What if, and again, I'm thinking of the individual who's just building or rebuilding a partner program. I feel like sometimes they feel overwhelmed, or maybe they just feel like they're not even qualified to launch this program because they don't do 10 things really, really well. Maybe it's only 2. What would you say to that individual who maybe just have a few things that they do well?
I think you're in a better position, honestly, with that. I clearly do, because you know those offerings that you have, those solutions that you have, and you're not that then you're not coming to the partner and saying like, okay, I have this whole library of solutions out there for you. I mean, I think you having a more specific offering is really, really helpful, and that's the cleanest way to get started out there. People will know who you are and what you do very quickly. I mean, it's key. I mean, some of the organization you and I used to work with, they had a massive portfolio of offerings out there, all really good offerings, but they also got lost in it. And you also find that if there's too many offerings and too many things, then an organization might be too big, that you get these different silos, and then that's where you're not talking to each other. If you've got a couple offerings out there, I think internally you've got the whole team behind you, right? And that's really important. And one of the key things I'd look at, and we can discuss a little bit too, is that communication, not just with the partner, but communication internally and with your executives, your sponsorship, your all of your teams is critical. Let them know what's going on, how it's happening, and setting the right expectation. But those are I think that the smaller offering is a clean way to launch it. And even if you do have a lot of products, take your best selling or your best two products,
Mhm.
make sure you have a great story, and help the partner to do, first and foremost, identify that opportunity within that for their customers. They can
Mhm.
look at it at looking at their prospect base, or they can look at their existing base. If it's an offering you have that that somebody doesn't have now, you can go back into your existing customer base and say, hey, which ones are a good fit? If you're helping guide that partner and say, you know what, this is what the perfect target customer looks like for us. Do you have any of these folks in your existing base?
Mhm.
Yes or no. If I do, then look, this is what we can do. We can get a quick introduction to them. We can kind of go through that. Or if it's a case where they're prospecting to customers that you want, and your offering is really good out there, you can do some joint prospecting with them.
Mhm.
Either if with your direct teams, depending upon if you're integrating with your direct team, or you can actually do some marketing. You can help them out. I mean, the thing that I think suppliers fall down a lot on is like it's always a gimme, 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 right? Give me your deals, give me your deals, give me your deals. But if I'm not going to help that partner build their business, and I'm not going to help them grow the business somehow, then I'm just another supplier to them. I'm not a partner.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
and
so
and
good. Oh my
those are
goodness.
critical
Yes.
pieces.
Yeah. That's got to settle for a minute because that's powerful, right? It's not a true partnership then.
Right, right.
We're not here for that. We're here for a true partnership. So,
Absolutely.
wow. Powerful words, Wayne. That was like, I'm trying to think like what else could I ask? Because I think just the advice that you've shared so far, and I like what your take on it. It's very realistic, it's attainable, and it's effective as well, right? I think your spin on that's fine. You don't have to do everything well. Focus on
Yeah.
can and just do that. And it's even better that way. You're right. It's simple, it goes back into the whole simplicity and ease of doing business with the
It,
supplier.
if you look at it as building blocks in that sense too, I mean, if I get a partner comfortable with certain offerings and aspects of my business, and they start to see that we can help their solution set out, then I also the other aspect is that then if I do have other product offerings, then I can get in with them. Then we can start to share those other product offerings. We can get out there and help them. It's a building block piece. And you're gonna find some partners that are gonna embrace it and work really closely with you on everything, and others that'll go maybe a once in a while it'll come by. But just be prepared to take either one of them, and don't be frustrated that this partner only occasionally, they bring me a deal once a month, or some of them bring me once a year, or every 6 months.
Mhm.
Well, it may not be the main core of their business, but at least you're getting them to step out a little bit, or you're getting to look at you. And if they understand who you're targeting, and the more specific you can be with about who you're targeting, and that you can share with them, if you've got identified, like, hey, these are the industries that we're really good at, and these are what we typically find are some of the problems that this industry has, that we could solve those problems for. Get that to your partner. It's just that quick and simple.
That's great. That's great. Anything else? Any other lessons learned that you would like to share with someone who's in this situation right now of rebuilding or building a new partner program?
I think it really is a case where it takes time to get it going through. I mean, we've heard the analogies of like it's like a snowball coming down the hill, and it can be, right? I mean, you can start that small and get it going, but there's a lot of the pushing that little snowball around at the very top of the hill to get it going through. You have to be adaptable when you're first getting it up and running, and you may have to shift gears a little bit. You may go like, okay, well, this didn't work. Is it a case where I want to look at, did I not get the right target base right out here? I'm not getting the right messaging out to the partners. Whatever the case may be, just be adaptable. Realize that uh, there's going to be a lot of changes that you may need to make along the way, but it is a building block. And as you get it up and running, once a partner becomes comfortable with you and they start keeping you into their normal solution set for their end customers, that's exactly where you want to be. Just keep building from that and share successes with them. Obviously you're not going to share the customer name with all the partner base, but let them know when you get some successes out there. Because that's something that another partner can see and will see, and you can go like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm talking to this organization, or I'm talking to healthcare or finance or whatever the case may be. So.
Yeah, that's good. Great. Well, I just want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule and talking with us. I hope you stop by again, but I know our audience definitely will benefit from the lessons learned and best practices that you've been able to share with us.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. And it's always great spending time with you, Akilah.
Thank you, Wayne.